Hey, what's good everyone? This is Joe Chi Ming, and today I'll be talking to you about public schools versus private schools in China. Now, with these two types, in some aspects they are very similar, in other aspects they are completely different, completely opposite. So let's get into it. The main things I'll be talking about are the working schedule and working hours for each type, the management team, how each school is managed. These are just general, not verbatim for each type, just in general. The office hours, the living style, what goes into housing and how is that managed with both schools, and vacation time. So there's a lot more to go into these two school systems, but I'm just going to talk about the general basics of each one. I have worked at both. I don't know if I said that yet, but yeah, I have worked at both. I do have my preference, but other people may have a different preference than I did. Some people like public, some people like private. It's up to them. So let's go. So with a private school, you work on weekends and evenings. So maybe you start at 1 p.m., maybe you start at 5 p.m. But it's usually afternoon, afternoon to evening. And usually during the week it's really, really relaxed. You may have 1 to 2, maybe 3 classes maximum. And you work on weekends. Weekends are the busiest time because weekends can go from, at least what I experienced, 8 hours to 12 hours a day in terms of teaching and office work, maybe meeting with parents. Yeah, so there are a lot of different things that you would probably have to do within a private school on the weekends. Usually in private schools you teach ages 3 to 18 or even higher. I've had one-on-one classes that went up to ladies who were 60, or 50. I forgot how old she was, but she was pretty old up there. And the classes usually are very small, from a one-on-one class to maybe 16 or 18 students maximum, probably. I know my old school, I think, was 16 maximum. So it's pretty small classes, which means you get to know the names of all your students. You get to eventually know each one's weaknesses. Who's a great English speaker and who is a troublemaker, for each class, because there is one in each class. So and it's cool. Let's go into public school. Public school, you usually work from Monday to Friday, usually, and you have a schedule of roughly 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or 5 p.m., generally. And you get a few breaks in between, just as you do private school. You get a lunch break. My school is a little bit different. I don't know why, but they give me like a nap time break, which is like 2-hour break during the day, which is great. Usually with a public school, you teach really, really big classes, and you teach 1 to 2 grade levels, maybe 3 sometimes. Like right now I'm teaching grades 1 and 2. And with public schools in China, because China is a big country with a very large population, the classes can range from being medium to huge. Luckily my classes are only 36 students, which really isn't that bad, but I've heard people at different public schools saying that they have classes from 60 to even 100 sometimes. The classes are a lot bigger in public schools. So with private schools, they are usually, at least that's what I've heard and what I experienced, they're usually foreign managed. You have a foreign head of the school who will help you out when you need it. So it's a very easy communication. There's no big communication gap, because you both speak English fluently and you both know, what's going on. So if you need help, they can help you out. It's pretty easy. A good thing about the private schools is that, they always have someone to help you out in terms of housing, in terms of trying to get everything you need. So that's great with the private school. Private school system in China. With public schools, on the other hand, this is one of those big opposites. So public schools, you're usually on your own. Yeah, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Public schools are usually Chinese managed. You know, you'll get hired by a Chinese guy or woman, and from then out, that's who you talk to throughout your contract. And usually it gets kind of annoying because things aren't done as fast as you would expect them to be done. It's just a culture and sometimes misunderstanding of language type thing. So that's just the way it is. It kind of, you know, it can suck at times, but you know, it's all good. That's one of the reasons I say before you come here, try to learn a little Chinese, because that way you can do things on your own and get some Chinese friends. You know, go out into the city, meet some people, and you know, I'm sure in your city somewhere there's someone who speaks English pretty well or decently enough where you can understand each other on a basic conversation level. So they can help you out when you need it, and that's, you know, that's what I did in this city, in Taiyuan. Yeah, like I said, you're probably usually on your own, and honestly with the public school, that's kind of what you want it to be, because you can do what you need to do when you need to do it, you know. And yeah, so that's it. Do your research before you sign any contract in China to any school, whether it be public or private. You don't want to get screwed over at all. So make sure you do your research. And in doing that research, you'll find out if your school has office hours. You know, how many do you have? Find out before you sign that contract and before you go to that school, how many office hours will you need to work. Some schools say 0. Some schools are mandatory. You may need 10 office hours or 20 office hours or 5 office hours. I don't know. Look it up. With my school, I have no office hours. I go in, you know, only when I need to teach, and if I don't need to teach, unless I need to be there for like you know, a ceremony or something, you know, I don't have to be there. So I usually lesson plan at home, and that's cool. Oh, admin work for private schools. Usually you have to, there's grading tests, grading quizzes, parent-teacher conferences sometimes. You know, all the paperwork that probably you would do in your Western country, you doing in a private school, you know. You also will be lesson planning, and you'll lesson plan for maybe 6, 7, 8 classes maybe. I'm not sure, depending on your school. That's what I did. So with the public school admin, there is none. There's really nothing. What I've heard from other people and what I'm going through now, there's nothing. There's no meeting with parents. There's no grading quizzes or tests. You know, it's chill. It's really relaxed. You know, so it's cool. Not to say that it's better than a private school, because you may not like the fact that you have to do everything for yourself and that things get done a lot slower with a public school. So it depends on you. You know, it really depends on you. With private and public schools, when it comes to housing, you gotta research. You gotta see if they're going to offer you an apartment or offer you a housing allowance to find your own place. You know, I would suggest if they don't offer you either, don't even think about going. You know, just, you know, because you're there, you're going to a new country, you know, at least they should be able to help you out with that one. You know, maybe if they can't give you an apartment, at least be able to help you pay for it a little bit, you know. In bigger cities, for both types of schools, usually you'll be paying for your apartment because it's a bigger city, it's more expensive. That's just the way it is. In a smaller city, you may have a greater chance of them paying for your apartment, paying the rent for your apartment. Some schools even pay for your apartment and utilities, you know. My school right now pays for the apartment and utilities, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, just do your research on that. That's really all I gotta say. Now, in terms of the specifics about each one, with a private school, like I said before, they're very helpful. They'll have someone help you with the housing. If there's something wrong, they'll have someone come fix it, you know, as soon as possible. And, you know, that's the great thing about the private school. They always have someone to help you. Banking is the same way with private schools. You know, they'll always have someone to help you if you need to get a new credit card or debit card or bank account, whatever you need, they'll have someone to help you. Public schools, on the other hand, like I said, you may have to do it by yourself. My school, you know, I needed to transfer some money home. And, you know, my school wasn't able to help me because my boss said he was too busy. So I got a friend to help me, and that was made it a lot easier. Make friends in China, Chinese friends, you know. Foreign friends are cool, but make some Chinese friends because they're the ones who know the country better than any of us do. Vacation. Vacations differ greatly between these two schools. So let's go into private. Private school vacations are not as long as public schools because it is private. Private schools are after school schools, so you teach when the kids are not in public school. You'll teach a little more than someone who is teaching at public school. So yeah, so vacation time. Usually vacation time roughly is about 6 to 8 weeks a year for a private school. Got the spring festival for maybe 10 to 12 days. Got vacation time in the summer for maybe 2 weeks. You know, you get your weekend September, October-ish, and your May vacation. You know, so 6 to 8 weeks-ish depending on your school. Do your research. So with public schools, you may get 13 to 15 weeks of vacation time. You know, this year with my public school, I have 5 weeks for winter vacation, roughly 2 months for summer vacation, and you know, all the other holidays, a week in May and a week in September, October-ish. So now with both, you have to research, you know, whether it's paid or not. Some schools will give you the full pay during both vacations. Some schools will maybe only give you full pay for winter vacation. Some schools may only give you half pay for winter vacation and no pay for summer. And some schools may not pay you at all. You know, you gotta do your research. If your salary is high enough and maybe you can last without the payment during vacation, it's up to you. I mean, this is all up to you. But yeah, so those are the general basics for each one. There is a lot more information, but like I said, those are the general basics. If you have any more questions about them, you can comment below and I can tell you about it. And yeah, so that's it with private versus public schools in China. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I gave you some good information before you come to China, or if you're in China and you want to switch, you know, I hope I give you a good base of information to determine whether you want to switch or not. You know, based on where you're at. So that's it. An Chi Ming out. Have a good day. Peace.